guys, I hope your quarantine is going well. We're kind of on quarantine here in LA, but kind of not. Today I'm going to talk to you about shadow work. It's something that I keep telling all of you to do. I used to send out a big long email about it to everybody that purchased work from me, and I quit doing it because nobody did it. Some people didn't even open the email. I have a tracker that shows when things have opened, and some people wouldn't even open it. You want this person to love you, you want this person back, or you want this person to obsess over you, but you don't want to do your own shadow work. And your shadow work will uncover and reveal some truths of why you are having problems with the person in your life. Not so much obsession, because obsession is lust, and that's something completely different. Your shadow can show you why you want obsession, why you seek obsession from someone that may not be seemingly interested. But shadow work is a really, really good way to identify where you need work in your life, to identify things before they go wrong. If you start doing your shadow work, you'll be able to not take offense when your partner does certain things, not arguing with them all the time over the same thing, or easily being able to move on when you realize that that person is not for you. When you heal what's broken in you, you can stop repeating the same things over and over and over again. I tell a lot of you to do your shadow work and start where the arguments lie in your relationship. So if you're coming to me for love work or obsession work with someone that you actually had a relationship with, not a crush that doesn't know who you really are, I always ask you, well, what did you argue about? What did you argue about? Start there. A lot of the times you guys will tell me everything this other person did wrong, and he's a liar, he's this, he's ignorant, he's that, he's a piece of shit. You know what? You both are, because you would not be able to clearly identify that within him if it wasn't in you. And I'm not saying no, that he's not lying, that he's not a piece of shit, that he's not trifling, whatever you guys tell me he is, but you have those same qualities. And by suppressing them and only projecting them on your lover, you're causing yourself pain and you're causing them pain. So let's discuss on how to do shadow work. Carl Jung is an amazing person. I know we all learned about him in college. I sent out a link for shadow work, and I'm actually going to post it below here. That way, if anybody actually does want to do this and didn't get work from me, you can go through this website. This website has a lot of Carl Jung's practices and theories on it. And then it also gives you other psychologist websites. That way you can do shadow work their way as well. And it also helps you identify different things in yourself by going through archetypes, which is something that Robert Moore expanded upon in recent times, about archetypes and being able to identify which archetype that you are, and then working through the bipolarity of each archetype. So let's start at the beginning. First of all, shadow work. We know it's always ugly to identify things in ourselves that we don't like. So let's start with the other person. So what I do is a form of automatic writing. So I'll ask a question out loud. You have to say it out loud, and I will write down exactly what comes to mind. So if I were to start doing my shadow work with a particular person, choose anyone. It could be the roommate that you're doing a spell on. Whoever you're doing spell work on is who I want you to start on. So say you want to do an obsession spell with someone, not necessarily obsession. I want it to be in a relationship. If you're in a relationship with someone, like a true relationship, start with that person. So you want to do a love spell on this person and you guys aren't getting along, do 2 columns. Write down one side, what are the great qualities of this person? What are the amazing qualities of this person? And don't worry about if there's only 2 things on the list, they're never going to see it. Then on the other side, what are the things that piss me off about this person that I cannot stand? So then, once you have your 2 categories, go down each category and say it out loud. If their name is Tom, Tom is rude. Tom is arrogant. Tom is narcissistic. Tom is impatient. So you're going to say all that stuff about Tom. Then you say it about yourself. So take Tom's name out of it and replace it with I. I am rude. I am impatient. I am a narcissist. And then when you say it, try to identify what makes it true to you, because I guarantee you, you have those same qualities. You may not recognize it, but you have those same qualities. When we suppress our shadow it takes control of us. When we are all love and light, I hate people like that. Oh, good vibes only, all love and light. They're suppressing their shadow. And those are the people that will flip out on you and totally do a character flip and then blame it on you and say, oh, I can't be around you because you bring out the worst in me. No, the worst was always in you, bitch. You brought it out by suppressing your shadow. So own what you read back. So if it's, Tom is rude, but whatever, and then it's I am rude, take a second and think about, how are you rude? How do you exemplify these qualities that you have written down? And then out loud, you're going to ask the questions of Tom and then yourself. So out loud, Tom, what are you trying to teach me? Tom, why are you with me? Tom, what are your intentions with me? And ask these questions out loud. Come up with your own questions. And if you ask the question, Tom, why are you with me? And the answer that you download is free sex and a place to stay. Don't go, oh, hell no, I would never accept that. Just write it down, because that is the universe, your higher self, answering you back. And if you write down free booze and a place to stay, and that's Tom's answer, then you have to accept that. And then you have to think on the flip, why am I accepting this? Why am I tolerating this? Why am I in the situation that I have attracted this? Because you may not get the answers that you want. You're not going to go, oh, because I love you so much and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. If that was the case, you guys probably wouldn't be calling me to curse his ass while you still live with him. So you also need to ask yourself those questions. Why? Why am I accepting this? So ask your partner out loud, or again, automatic writing, what are you teaching me? What are you trying to get me to learn? Why are you with me? What are your intentions with me? And write down the answers that you get in your head. And then don't go confront them and, oh, I know you're only with me for a free place to stay and alcohol. You can't do that. They're going to deny it anyway. Even if it's the truth, they are going to deny it. This is for you to grow. And when you start looking at this person, this mate of yours on paper, their negative qualities, which are the things that you suppress in yourself, those are normally your shadow, what answers you got through your automatic writing about what they're teaching you. Do you need to keep learning those lessons? If what are you teaching me, Tom? I'm teaching you to set healthy boundaries and to learn how to say no. Okay, if those are the things that he's teaching you, then do you feel like you need to keep learning those lessons, or do you need to learn them that way? Can you let him go? Or do you want to learn those lessons and then create healthy boundaries with Tom and try to move on in a healthier dynamic? You have to figure it out, but you have to confront yourself first. So there's another great thing that Robert Moore describes with the 4 archetypes. And the 4 archetypes are the masculine archetypes. They also go through feminine archetypes as well, but I'm dealing with masculine right now because mostly my clientele is female. So the 4 archetypes, I'm going to look at my notes here, are the king, the warrior, the magician, and the lover. And we know those archetypes from our tarot cards as well. So when you think about the 4 archetypes, when they're in healthy balance, they look what we would say as a well-balanced, mature person. The king is giving. He blesses his people. He leads. It's a great sentence in Robert Moore's book where he says, when's the last time you have blessed someone, either in word or action? And if it is something that you struggle to think of the answer, or you struggle to bless someone, then you are out of line with your king energy, because the king blesses. So if you are out of line with that, the 2 poles of the king, the shadow, are going to be the tyrant and the weakling. So if you think about someone that's super weak, they can't speak up for themselves, they're just a pushover, their king energy is out of alignment. So that would be the archetype that they would start working with, and they would start with the weakling. Now you have the tyrant on the other half that is not weak at all. He's a bully. He's, blazing through people. Doesn't give a shit about what anybody thinks. His king energy is off. Now his shadow is the weakling, and maybe at some point in his life he learned that it's not safe for him to be weak, and we normally learn this in our childhood. So because he wasn't safe being vulnerable and being what he deems as weak, he became overinflated tyrant. His king energy never developed correctly. So then you move to the 2nd archetype. You have the warrior, and then you have the sadist and the masochist are the 2 polarities under the warrior. And women can be warriors too. So the warrior energy, the sadist and the masochist, at some point I learned it's okay to cause pain, but I never want to cause myself pain. The other side, it's okay to cause other people or cause myself pain, but I never want to cause other people pain. So you have those people that always say yes when they don't mean it, and they suffer. And then you have those other people that are narcissists and they only think about themselves. Their warrior energy is out of alignment. So the next archetype is going to be the magician. So the magician, the two polarities of that are the detached manipulator and the innocent one. Now that's really important. A lot of the time, the innocent one, that magician and that warrior are the energies that I'm working with a lot when you guys are wanting to curse these guys, or you have a narcissist in your life. The magician and the warrior energies are the main ones that are fucked up within them. So with the magician, the detached manipulator, that's your narcissist. The detached manipulator. Now a true magician knows that he can use all of his resources to manifest everything in his life, and that there is a balance of giving and taking, of creating, of establishing, but there's not a skewed thing of the detached manipulator. And then you have the innocent one, who on the surface is innocent. Nobody would ever believe you when you say something bad about the innocent one, because they don't see the shadow, which is what you are dealing with, which is the detached manipulator. And that is such a hard thing to deal with. That archetype, when it's out of alignment, that is, for me, that's a walk away one, because they usually never get it right. Narcissists are not born, they're made, and they're made young. There's something that's broken within them at a young age, and it is so hard for them to turn it around. They have to do it themselves. No spell is going to do it. You can't wish them into it. You can't guilt them into it. The magician archetype, when it is messed up and out of alignment, it is awful. So that is the magician archetype. And then you have the lover. And the lover, the two polarities of that are the addicted lover and the impotent lover. So you may have someone who is a sex addict, and you may have someone who's attached and not interested in sex, or someone who's attached emotionally, but they can attach sexually. Those are the two poles of the lover. And it's very interesting that Robert Moore goes in to say that women are the lover archetype when we are in our teens, where boys are the warrior. And then when we get older, in our 40s, we become warriors and the men become lovers. But then it's too late. We're always opposite, and it's very hard for us to communicate and get on the same page because of how we are wired. But you can kind of bypass that if you know A, psychology, and B, if you've done your own shadow work. A lot of us women, if we've been with men for a long time and we get older with these men, we feel like, oh, we've grown apart. It's not that we've grown apart, we're switching archetypes. So now where I have been the lover, and I've been cooking and cleaning my whole life and taking care of the kids and just being selfless, those are the poles again. The innocent one, that's the magician, and the warrior, I am the masochist. Those are the poles of those archetypes. As I get older, I'm switching now. So now I'm becoming more of the warrior. I'm not going to service you all the time. I'm not interested in being of service now. Now it's about me and myself. And if you can't do it for yourself, well then fuck you. And that's how a lot of relationships get convoluted, I guess, as they get older, because we're switching archetypes. So learning these 4 masculine archetypes will help you at every stage in your life with your lover. Whether it's the same lover or a different lover, you're able to pick out in them which archetypes are strong for them, which archetypes are underdeveloped for them, and which pole of that archetype they are. If they are not being the true magician, then you'll be able to pick out immediately, you know what, he's the detached manipulator right now, or he is the innocent one right now. So I know that my shadow that I'm going to deal with him with is the detached manipulator. So I know what I need to watch out for. Because when we don't confront our shadow, it bubbles up and comes out in a moment where it'll make you say, oh shit, why did I say that? It's because your shadow isn't in check. When you do something, you go off on someone, you say something mean to your kids, or whatever triggers you is where you need to start with your shadow. Another exercise listed here is recognizing your emotional reactions to people. So if you have a interaction with someone, I don't expect you to do it in the moment because it's hard. Somebody pissed you off and cut you off in traffic. record in your brain how you reacted, why it made you feel, what it made you feel, and then later on at the end of the day, cycle back through your memories. I got upset over this. Why? Because I felt disrespected and they were rude, and that was just uncalled for. Those are the things you need to heal in yourself. Have you ever noticed that when someone's super zen and they're not a rude person, like you've never seen them be rude to anyone, they're completely just as sweet as can be. Have you ever noticed they never take anything personally? Somebody could be so rude to them they don't react, because it doesn't faze them, because they own their shadow in that aspect. They understand that this person may be having a bad day. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It has everything to do with them. They're superheroes. I am not like that. I am the person that will cuss you right back out. So I need to work on that in myself, but I understand it. So I'm able to start reeling it in. You'll start noticing when your shadow bubbles up. You know, your boyfriend says something, you just check the shit out of him when you could have just been like, you know what, sweetie, actually it's this, or let's do this way, or let's start in a different dynamic, or, you know, let's talk about this later. But we don't. We have a knee-jerk reaction. That is your shadow. It hijacks your body and it makes you react. So to close this, I will say it is so important for yourself now, your future self, your kids' future selves, your kids' selves now, your relationships now, your future relationships, to work on your shadow. If you understand shadows, archetypes, there's hundreds of archetypes, by the way. These are just the main 4 by Robert Moore. There's like over 365 archetypes, and they're female and they're male. When you start learning these archetypes, you will develop that superhuman power to never be offended by someone's actions, to never have a knee-jerk reaction where you say something that you have to go back and apologize for later. Or a lot of you don't even know how to apologize. You just walk around angry and try to project onto someone else. You try to project that they're always wrong, and they're, you know, they deserved it and they should apologize to me for making me act that way. That is childish, and you need to work on your shadow. And if you're in a relationship with someone that cannot work on their shadow and help you be the best version of yourself, then you need to question, why am I accepting a relationship with someone that has such an underdeveloped shadow? They don't even know they have a shadow. Why am I accepting this? I need someone who is as enlightened as myself. That way we can push each other to higher levels of energy. And I don't need an obsession spell, and I don't need a love reconciliation spell, because we're vibing on the same frequency. I'm not saying you're never going to need magic, but shadow work is magic within itself. It is free. And it is the biggest magic spell that you will ever perform on yourself or on anyone. You transform yourself, you transform your relationships with others, and your interaction and your energy with others. A lot of us go to work and we have trouble with coworkers, and we're arguing, we're getting written up, we're getting fired. It's because of our shadow. It's not because we're bad people. We don't know how to control our shadow. Everybody is a product of their environment. So once you get out of that environment and you're no longer there, and you don't need those things, those weapons or whatever, it's time to unpack your trunk and start confronting your shadow. So I will put that link down below. Please, if you've never gotten a spell from me, please look at the link. If you have gotten a spell from me, for the love of Satan, please look at this link. A lot of you will email me, oh, you know, what can I do to make this spell last? Or the spell was lasting and now it's not, you know, it's wearing off. It's because you didn't do your shadow work. I've said it 100 million times. So please, if you have gotten spell work from me, even if it was 2 years ago, I don't care. Please start doing your shadow work. I'm not saying I'm tired of you guys, but a lot of you could save so much money if you would do your shadow work. You should not have to come to me for 65 spells in a year. And some of you guys I start turning down, because I realize no matter how hard I work for you, you're going to undo everything that I've done. Work on yourself. Do your shadow work. Your shadow work is the most amazing spell that you can ever perform in your life. It will last you your whole entire life. And you know, I always say magic doesn't last forever. This is the only magic spell that you will do that will last forever, is your shadow work. It will last you forever until the day you die or get dementia. Your shadow work will last forever. It is the greatest magic you can ever perform. So have a blessed day, and I will see you all soon.